All right, so you're welcome to Wealth Unleashed webinar, our weekend dose on your journey to the wealthy place, to the place called financial freedom. My name is Oladipo Clement, and I'm glad you made it here. Without further ado, I want to just dive straight into our subject for the day. Just in case this is your first time of joining us on Zoom or joining us on YouTube, I want to encourage that you subscribe to that channel. There's so much that we put on that channel every week to boost you in your journey to financial freedom and other areas of life. And I'm sure you'll find it of tremendous value to you. And so today we want to continue in our series on the culture of savings, And so setting to tell someone to tell another person to join, we are live. Okay, so last week we began looking at why you should save. In other words, by extension, why people should save. Okay, why people should save, and more particularly, why you should save, why you and I should save. And it was very, 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 very packed. We won't be able to go there. So you can watch the replay on my YouTube channel at Oladipo Clem. And of course, you would do well to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course, on TikTok at Oladipo Clem. And so let me just proceed in this particular series. So today I want to look at why people don't save. Why people don't save. The reason people find it difficult and tough to actually save. Sorry, I'm not going to go into any pleasantries because of our time. I just need to shoot quickly and get out of here. I have a series of meetings back to back after this. So why people don't save. Why people don't save. It's still a continuation on the culture of savings, or should I put it this way, developing the culture of savings. I've said it time and again, if you've been following this particular series, you see it is precept upon precept, line upon line. When I did a series on living above financial pressure, where I specifically spoke on budgeting as the cure to financial pressure, I did mention, and I'm going to reiterate here, that money has never been enough. It will never be. All right. So the more you have, the more you wish you had. And so that's, every time you make more money, every time you earn more money, there's a law called the Parkinson's law. And in order for you to be wealthy, in order for you to create wealth, in order for you to save and invest, one law you must fight intentionally and deliberately so is the Parkinson's law. And what does the Parkinson's law state? It states that as income rises, so will your expenses rise too. As income rises, so will your expenses rise too. And that's why as your income improves, because there's always that, you immediately adjust to the new income level. It doesn't appear as something has improved in your life. And that's why a lot of times people, in spite of the promotions, in spite of the increase in income, it doesn't look like something is really moving forward in their lives. And one of the principles, one of those laws that you must embrace to fight the law or the Parkinson's law. Good evening, ma'am. Good to see you. One of the laws you must embrace to fight, the Parkinson's law is the culture or the law of savings. It's one of such laws. As a matter of fact, one of the things I often share, and if you go watch the replay on the session, on the class I taught on financial pressure, living above financial pressure, you would recall I did mention that when you develop your budget, one of those expense components that you must capture, consistently is you must treat your savings and investment as an expense. I did mention that of a part of what you earn is yours to give. I talked about the need to have a covenant obligation that, spiritual investment, so critical because that's what provides security, for your physical investment. So a part of all you earn, I know that is not the common law you will find in Think and Grow Rich, or you'll find in Rich Dad Poor Dad, or what you find in the classic bestseller by Richard. What's the guy's name now? The author of the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. You won't find it there. But one of the things that people often share, and over the century, has been that a part of what you earn is yours to keep. Now, I believe a lot in a part of all you earn is yours to keep, but I also earnestly believe that a part of all you earn is yours to give. All right? A part of what you earn is yours to give. Then a part of what you have, all right, or all you earn is yours to keep. If you get those two things right and you treat them as the first element or first component of your expenditure column, right, you will successfully fight Parkinson's law. You will successfully win over Parkinson's law. So even as your income improves and you continually obey the law of savings and put in kingdom first, your future next, and then everything else follows, there's no way you will not successfully fight the Parkinson's law. And it gives me great honor and delight to let you know that embracing the culture of savings and even making it transgenerational, such that you begin to raise your children in that same manner. Because see, many of us were not raised that way. We're raised, yes, George Clason, George Clason, yeah. So that's the name I was trying to look for. I was saying Richard Clason. Thank you very much, ma'am. All right, so you really, 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 really want to embrace the law of savings, because it will go a long way, in helping you succeed and fight against the Parkinson's law. There's no one who has created wealth successfully who is not intentional about fighting that Parkinson's law. You can never create wealth. Please, no, quote me anywhere. You can't create wealth if you don't fight Parkinson's law. You can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. Okay, and this culture of savings is exactly what will help you. Again, part of the things we established as a foundation, for this particular series are the three compartments, or the three phases of your journey to financial freedom that you must master. We mentioned personal transformation. We've already crossed that part. We are now in income generation, planning, and application. Income generation, planning, and application. And that's what we are dwelling on. For the third phase of this particular series of lecture will be on asset accumulation, optimization, and retention. And I'm going to be dwelling on a whole lot. And let me quickly state this upfront. There are things I'm going to share in the third phase that you will not find in my book. You won't find it in my book. You won't find it anywhere. Okay? And they are, I'll call them fresh, or it's going to be part of the revised edition of my book. But if you do not currently have my book, you will be doing yourself a lot of injustice, because there are many things I'm saying now that are in the book already, that I'm not even touching at all. So you want to make sure you get that edition, okay? Before, I can't really tell you when next the new edition will come to the fore, where we'll publish the new edition. So let's quickly run through why people don't save, why people, hardly save. The first one is ignorance. Ignorance of the importance, and that's essentially what we looked at last week. So all the things we shared last week was to educate us and give us knowledge and insight on the importance of savings, what savings will help you do. Like, for example, one of the things we mentioned is the fact that savings will help you, savings will help you, it will help you to address the emergencies, and helps you to address emergencies and help you to access opportunities. Savings will help you to address emergencies, and it will also help you to harness or access opportunities. Now, emergencies are crisis situations that may otherwise throw you off balance. And when you save consistently and you develop it as a culture, what it will do is it will help you to address emergencies. It will also help you to access opportunities. Now, opportunities are things, are ladders, are leverage. Other people's emergencies eventually become your own opportunity. All right. Um, other people's emergency become your own opportunity. And whether you like it or not, this is exactly how you will be able to harness such opportunities. So when you are savings, other people's emergencies become your own opportunity. And of course, should you have a crisis situation that may otherwise throw your balance, you still have some kind of you still have a stopgap. So savings will serve as a stopgap between you and shame, between you and embarrassment. And this is why it is so critical. And more importantly, it also gives you leverage. All right. So why do people not save? Number one, they don't save largely because they are ignorant of the importance of savings. Number two, they purely operating in foolishness. Period. There's no two way about it. There's no better way to describe it. They purely are operating in foolishness. Now, let me say that, one of the things my mentor has shared over the years and we too have embraced is the fact that 3 things you can do with money. Number one, you waste it. People waste money. Okay. Number 2, people spend money. And that's what average people do. But foolish people waste money. Number 3, people invest money. And that's what wise people do. So people waste money. And it is foolish people that waste money. So it is pure foolishness. And that's why people, when you are operating in folly, you are operating in foolishness, you don't save. So that's pretty much one of the key reasons people don't save money. Number 3, they don't know how to save. They are ill-equipped as to how to save. Okay, and that's pretty much why a lot of times people don't save. All right. Number four, they always have a pressing need. There's always more months at the end of the month. In other words, there's always one pressing need. Like I said, no matter how much you earn, the money will never be enough. I have lived long enough. I'm a young man, but I've lived long enough to recognize that the more you earn, the more it appears the responsibility just keeps expanding. And one of the control mechanisms that you must install in your life as a matter of urgency, all right, is that you prioritize your savings over any expense. I know how this has helped. I know what this will do. I was listening to a very great man, one of the men who also sparked my passion for this assignment I'm doing now from 24 years ago. And I listened to him recently where he was talking about how he too broke free from, poverty thinking, poverty mindset, and all of those things. And he was sharing that one of the reasons he was not consistently saving was because he was always helping people, trying to help people, trying to support this and all of that. But the moment, the money was never enough. But the moment, he started to save, both personally and as a corporate entity, one of the things he noticed was that it elevated his self-esteem. The moment he began to save, it enhanced his emotional state to the point where even if he does not have cash, he knows that if he needs to harness opportunities, if he had a crisis right there, he had something stacked up somewhere that he could leverage. And you really don't want to be in a situation where you can't call up something, right? You can't free up resources somewhere, to meet a need, an urgent need. I don't know about you, but if you've ever been in dire need, seldom do you have people that you can really call on, right? But when people are in trouble, it appears that people only remember you when they are in trouble. It only appears. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should never be you support people. I'm saying that for some reasons, those of us who have practiced, putting, misplacing our priorities, especially when it comes to savings, giving over other things, if you misplace that priority and you put other things before this, you hardly have anything to save. All right. Like I shared a particular quote. I said, poor people spend first and invest and save whatever is left. Rich people on the other hand, they save and invest first and then spend whatever is left. But again, when I said that poor people spend first and save whatever is left, I added by saying that if there is anything at all, and more often than not, there's nothing left. You will bear me witness on that. I'm sure you can agree with me that every time you save, you spend first. There's hardly anything left. And if there's anything left at all, there's hardly anything left. And that's why you must prioritize. So there's always one pressing need, something always saying that if you don't take care of me now, if you don't meet this now, something will faint. Listen. I can tell you for free. Everything will fit in. So one of the things that savings does for you is the fact that it boosts your self-esteem. It boosts your self-worth. It terminates poverty, scarcity mentality. One of the reasons why you don't attract opportunities and attract increase into your life is the kind of thought that preoccupies your mind. When you start to practice savings as a culture, one of the things it will start to do for you is that your mind mentality will be conditioned for surplus, for extras, right? And not scarcity. And this is so important. It's so important. Okay? There's always a pressing need, and that's why people hardly save. So from today, whether you save, I was sharing with I was invited to an Ivy League school, private school in on the island a couple of years back. And after facilitating the training session and taught all the teachers, it was a powerful session. And a woman ran after me after that particular session and said, that was phenomenal and all of that. And then she asked me a question, would there ever come a point when we will not need to continue to save anymore? And I said to her, and I want to say that here today. And I told her, I said, whether you save or not, the money will still not go round. In other words, whether you save or not, it does not terminate pressing need. There will always be pressing need. After you finish it, there will still be pressing need. If you save, there will still be pressing need. So save. But I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. Now, if you read my first two books, it was Rewrite Your Financial Story and Finding What Works For You. In the book, Rewrite Your Financial Story, I documented 12 financial lessons I learned the hard way. And one of them is never sharing your oil, but you are at liberty to share your light, right? Never share what is producing your income. You are at liberty to share the income or part of the income, but you are not at liberty to share what is producing the income. What is producing the income is your oil. Your oil is what generates light, right? What generates light is your oil. Anything that tampers, when your oil goes out, then your light will go out. And that's where a lot of us have, been emotionally blackmailed, especially for those of us in Africa. For whatever reasons, we seem to have been trapped by what will people think, what will people say, what will people feel. And religion has not even helped the matter. And so I'm a big fan of the law of generosity. And anybody who knows me personally, that I don't joke with generosity. However, it can be your greatest undoing in your journey to financial freedom. And I can tell you stories upon stories upon stories. And one of the reasons people hardly save is because there's always a pressing need. Sometimes it's not even your personal needs, and it's the needs of other people. It's a drag, and it can constitute a weight on your journey to financial freedom. Okay? So, and one of the things I've learned is that if you don't set a vision, if you don't set an agenda for your money, other people will set an agenda for it. And that will put you on your toes, right? If there's anything that we know in this part of the world, it's called the black tax, right? It's something that we are all familiar with, all right? There's one brother, one cousin, and all of that. We all need help at different points in our lives. But see, once you start to make money, prioritize savings. It will go a long way in transforming your destiny. I know so. So make savings a pressing need that you can't even do without it. Okay? Number 5, they always procrastinate. They always procrastinate. The reason people don't save is because they always procrastinate. I will do it later, right? Some people, one of the things I've practiced over the years is I don't wait for a new year before I decide I'm going to implement certain things. Once I learn something immediately, and sometimes, sometimes I learn some things towards the end of the year, and maybe I run into a new insight, a new knowledge. Rather than wait to say I will start implementing in the new year, I implement it right there and there. I'm not wait, even if I learn it 1 week to the end of the year, I start implementation there. All right. So people procrastinate. No, I'll save it tomorrow. No. Let me just stabilize first. I will start saving from next year. I'll start saving from next month. I'll start saving. No, sir. Start it now. Start it now. Even if it's just 5% of everything you earn, start it now. Start it now. I recall years ago while I was still working in an investment banking firm, I recall one of my managers asked me this question. He said, so when you don't earn enough, how much should you save? Can you save 50% or what? And then when you have a lot of obligation, you have a lot of responsibilities and all of that. And I said, however big your obligations or responsibilities are. Now, and I'm not telling you this because I've always been perfect throughout, right? Sometimes I get choked, with a lot. And the only way I've constantly do, as I'm sharing with you, I'm also reminding myself of the things I'm supposed to also implement. All right. So I'm not just telling you this because if you don't fight it, it will cage you, it will trap you, and you'll be back to square one. You even be back to somewhere worse than where you started from. Right. So procrastination is one of the enemies of savings. I will do it later. I'm planning to. No, sir. Just implement it right there and there. If possible, set up a standing order. Give a standing order. Set up a direct debit to your account and ensure that you don't procrastinate the next time. So if you have already, because some people, there's so many expenses that's already waited before their salary came. And as soon as salary came, it swept it off, right? It swept it off completely. So they have nothing left to even implement what we're talking about. So one of the ways you can implement this without procrastinating is by you giving an instruction to your bank. Now, set up an account where you don't have ATM to that account. Set up an account that you don't have an online banking. All right, online access to that account where you can move money, and all of that, where you can actually check. But in fact, if you ask me, don't have ATM to that account, don't have anything, but just make sure that that money goes there every month. You'll be shocked. You'll be amazed how balanced your life will get. All right, eventually. Okay, you'll get used to it. Like my mentor shared one time, that it was in New York years ago while he was sharing, and somebody said, no, you have to pay bills. He was teaching people on something like this. And the person was saying, during Q&A, and the person kept saying, I've got to pay bills. And so you are talking about savings and all of those things. It's difficult. So he said he asked the lady a simple question. How do they take how do they take taxes from your pay? He said from source, right? So now, when they take the tax, are you still able to survive? Are you still able to run things? She said yes. The question is, if you also make savings, your covenant obligation, particularly your tithe, you make it part of your compulsory deductions from source, your life will get back to shape. I'm telling you the truth. Your life will get back to shape. And you start to attract opportunities like you have never, ever imagined before. Now, the challenge a lot of people have is that they wait for the time when they start earning big income before they start to practice this thing. But that's not the way it works. Start it from wherever you are, however small. Now, listen, this culture of savings is not really much about how much you are saving. It's more about the habits. It's more about who you are becoming in the process, right? The discipline to postpone gratification, the discipline to delay gratification. That's what is doing inside of you. And this is one thing not many people have, especially in this part of the world. I have a friend who, when we first met, one of our greatest connection was this issue of savings. And he told me, say, my friend, let me tell you, I can save 90% of my money. He said, I've been doing that for years. Now, this lady is a multi, in fact, I can say categorically, she's a billionaire. She does not joke with investment. She does not joke with savings. She doesn't joke with any of those things. All right. So people like this always procrastinate. Now, listen to me. Savings is not a New Year resolution that you will develop. No. It's a practice, a culture. Number 6, why people don't save. They want to live for the moment. They always want to live for the moment. They want to live for the now. Okay, they want to live for the moment. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Whatever will be, will be. It's usually a slogan, right? Let me tell you up front, whatever will be will not be, except you make it be. Okay? Whatever will be will not be, except you make it be. So you're living for the moment. I would not stop referring to my mentor. You know why? Because there's a whole lot he has shared, when I was much younger, listening to him. And even now, I still learn a lot. He said every money you make has a past, has a present, and has a future. And every time you finish it, you have finished, you have also eaten the future of that money. So if you live in the moment, always living in the moment, you are also setting yourself up for crisis in the future. This is so important. Number 7, the 7th reason people don't save is they believe money will always be available when they need it. They believe money will always be available when they need it. All right? Listen to me carefully. Life was not designed to run on miracles. There are moments and occasions and situations we will find ourselves, we will all need miracles. And I believe a lot in miracles. But life was primarily designed to run on principle. That's why we don't pray for there to be sunset. We don't pray for there to be sunrise. It is a law of life that the sun is responding to. And while the sun is setting in one side of the planet, the sun is rising on another side of the planet, because just obeying the law. It's the same thing with wealth creation. It's the same thing with financial freedom. There are principles, there are laws that if you just align with, and one of them is the law of savings. You have no idea, right? When people tell me things like, oh, I've saved money before, I lost all that money, I will eat my money now. Listen, I don't know of anyone who has created any measure of wealth who has not lost money at one point in time. And that's how you know, wealth creators from those who are just gamblers, right? If I can't go into stories upon stories, rather than live in the past of misfortune or setbacks, I look forward to what is ahead. I'm telling you, that's the way we operate. We keep pushing forward. If you tabernacle in the past, setbacks, past crises, you won't make progress. If you live, in the regrets of the past, you won't make progress, right? You would only be reliving that past in the moment, and it will be creating a similar future for you. So the best way is to forget the past. There's very little you can even do about it anyway. The least you can do is to start to progress and imagine what will happen in the future. So these people believe that money always will flow, right? That's part of the challenge a lot of people had and still have in developed nations. People pay rent, for example, they pay their mortgage monthly, and it's on the premise that they will still have jobs, they will still have their source of income intact. It is on the premise. So when they lose their job, what it affects, it affects their daily life instantly. So many people are committed to fulfilling their mortgage obligations, but they are not committed to saving money. Listen, no matter where you are in the world, I want to encourage you and I want to challenge you. Build this as part of your culture. Set up an account. Discuss with your banker, right? Let them know that, sorry, every month I want XYZ amount to go out of my account. And you'll be amazed what will begin to happen. And the opportunity to learn new skills will come, but you will not need to borrow to do it. You will just be able to access it from your account, right? Opportunity to acquire assets, right, will show up even at ridiculous amount, it is those savings you'll be able to harness them. And it will be a lot easier. Even if you need to do it with others, you have something, to start with. And this is why it is so, so important. So they believe that money will always come. Listen, money will not always come. And that's why it is very dangerous. You will be running a risk when you continue to live in that mindset, especially if you run your own business. And if it's still a one-man show, and there's no systems built in. Even if there's a system built in, anything man-made can collapse. Anything man-made can fail. So you have to make sure that you have a system in place for that business, for that small business, and for your own personal life and family, to ensure that something is always going in the direction of savings. Number 8, they always rationalize that they can't take the money to heaven, especially Christians, right? There's always this religious mindset that makes you believe that we brought nothing to this world, we'll take nothing. Yes, we brought nothing to this world, we will take nothing. But the people we leave behind must not suffer. They mustn't suffer, okay? The people we leave behind mustn't suffer. And that is why religion is very, very, very dangerous. So some people are so heavenly minded, but utterly useless. And it's unfortunate. I'm sorry that I'm sounding very, very harsh in that regard, but it's important so that to shake out that belief and that mindset away from us. This is so critical. So this is why people don't save, right? And of course, one of the key reasons people don't save, number 9, is they feel they don't have responsibility. So a lot of young people that I interact with, by the grace of God, I've raised a lot of young people, a lot of people who, they are multi-millionaires, silent millionaires, and it gives me a lot of joy because many of the things that we share, they practice, and it's showing in their lives. I recall one of my mentees, who, when she needed to, she was working, she was actively employed, and she wanted to go for a master's program. And I recall the very day she reached out to me to say, see, I intend to go for, I have 2 options. I can do it part-time, but it will take me 2 years. I can do it full-time. It will take me 9 months. I think I should do 9 months because I don't think I want to combine that with work so I can give it everything it requires. And I said, my only concern is, okay, how will you be able to fund your running costs, your running costs for that program and pay your tuition and everything? I mean, she was going to LBS, Pan Atlantic University, the school that owns Lagos Business School. And I said, for the amount you have mentioned, it would take an arm and a leg. And you know what she said? She said, I've saved up enough. I will just try and see if I can just lower my expenses. And that was what she did. In fact, I was still advising that she should go for 2 years because, number one, she's not sure whether she'll be able to. She said, no, I believe that I can get my job again, an even better one, if I should, if I need to. And so she resigned from that same job. In fact, she was always complaining about that job in the first place, always complaining that that's not the department, that's not where she really wants to pursue her career. And my goodness, I was so excited when I realized that she paid for her school fees based on savings. I remember another one who, was able to, was new in Lagos at the time, was able to build up enough savings, rented an apartment, bought a car, and, was able to start living life better. One reached out to me a while back, not like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and said now he has just gotten a job with so and so audit firm, one of the top or big 4. And I was so excited when the guy reached out to me, and then he was telling me his biggest concern that at the time was that, because of where he's now working, he needs to start using iPhone. And I told him, who is pursuing you? He said he's also thinking of quickly moving to rent his house. He said he has been squatting with this guy for 3 years. I said, this guy complained. He said, no. I said, now, this is the adjustment you need to make. Now, a lot of times people don't save because they feel they don't have responsibility. That's why I'm touching on all of this, because they clearly did not appear to have any responsibility. Everybody that is connected to them could take care of themselves, right? And everybody saw them as people who were just coming up and they needed help. So that's why a lot of people don't save. But that's also an opportunity to build up. Now you're married, you probably had a waiting time because children are not showing up right now. That's an opportunity to continue to save and continue to stack up. So by the time the children eventually show up, you will no longer have to struggle before you are able to cater for them. So these are things that people need to make, to adjust in. Okay, so people don't save because they think they don't have any responsibility. All right, and I've got people around me that I know fully well that the only thing that is making their life a lot better was that at the time when there was not much responsibility, there were no children, they had delay in childbearing. They immediately went to upskill themselves, and some of them went on with so much investment, so money that they would have been using to raise children for first 10 years, for first 5 years, they were busy pushing it into a personal development and into assets. And by the time the children eventually came, because they would still come, by the time they eventually came, there was enough on ground to now take care of them, even if they choose no longer to work. And that's the way to run things. So finally, and this is from a spiritual standpoint, a lot of people don't save because they lack the grace to save. They lack the discipline to save. And this is very important. Those of us who do it, and those of us who have committed to it for years, right, both on the personal level, and that this does not come by for the mere fact that you are a chartered accountant. I know chartered accountants who don't obey these laws. They are the very best good at managing other people's monies, but not theirs. And you don't ever want to. That's why you need the grace. You need help. You need empowerment. That's why we all need accountability also. You need someone that you can say, sorry, this is my plan, and I will be accountable to you. And we all need each other, all right? And this is how we supply each other grace, and we supply each other, the commitment. Whenever I remember when I got married, I remember that there were three of my friends that got married the same day, not in the same place, but the same day. So every time, those early days when marriage was very young, I used to remember, and when the marriage was young, there were a lot of issues, all those teething issues when you nearly get married. And I always remind myself, my own will not be the statistics. So my own will not be statistics of shame and all of that. So I was committed to making it work, always seeking counsel, always seeking assistance from mentors, people who were already married, who were doing well in their marriages, and I always drag my wife, let us go and see these people. And so, because there were many, we were coming from different backgrounds and all of those, it's the same thing, right? When you really want to be successful, you need to drag yourself to people that will hold you to your word, hold you to what you, and that's how grace is supplied. And also grace comes through prayers, and it also comes through mentorship. And that's pretty much where we will draw the curtain. Now, let me say this, grace also comes from giving. Now, the same commitment, there are people who I know who have been very committed to tithing, to, special seeds and all of those things. They don't joke with their covenant obligations, but the same commitment that you give to that covenant obligation, if you replicate it in your savings, it will have taken you further, all right? And this is why it's so important. When you start to give, the grace also to save and invest will also come along with it. All right, I want to believe that this has been helpful. So till we'll come again this same time, 7 p.m. next week, Friday. Always remember, winners don't quit, quitters don't win. So stay inspired till you succeed. I want to say thank you very much, and God bless you. In case you want to watch the replay, you can always go back to my YouTube channel at Oladipo Clement. You can click on the notification button, and then feel free to share this also with people within your circle of influence. I'm sure it's the same way it has been of blessing and tremendous value to you, it will be to other people. So thank you very much, and God bless you. Bye for now. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.